Okay, let's try this again. I saw my computer flash, and what it is I didn't plug my computer in. And I don't know why it died so damn quick, because I'd only been on for like 8 minutes or whatever. But we'll try it again. So annoying. Hopefully old Marcus figures it out. I've said it before. If I'm in the middle of a feed and I get disconnected, it's against my wishes. I'm the first one pissed. I'm the first one pissed about it. All right, let's go ahead and get some wood out here. Finish that wood while. Okay, I see some comment here. We're back. You're about to tell your car story and then black. Yeah, so I see my computer flash and then the screen goes blank and I realize that it's not plugged in, which I don't understand why it didn't keep going because, you know, I am real anal retentive about my this is a laptop and it was a top of the line laptop 3 years ago or whatever when I got it about 3 years ago. And but I never run it without being plugged in. I'm just afraid that I may need power and I don't have a power source. So while you have access to a power source and you can reach it, why not leave your laptop plugged in? And I always do. So it's plugged in while I do my feeds, and when I'm done with the feed, I sometimes notice that I'll come back 8 or 10 hours later and I see the little light on here like I left it plugged in. I don't like doing that. I don't like to overcharge it. It's supposed to stop it from charging, but I don't know. I don't want to have to buy another laptop anytime soon. And yeah, so I looked up and it is out of power. So, you know, if you do stuff like this, and I don't do anything complicated, you kind of appreciate what happens behind the scenes on movies and TV sets and stuff because these people that all go through this checklist and make sure that things are connected and the behind the scenes stuff, guys, that everything works smoothly. You know, you take for granted, but I don't have them, so it's all on me. And the problem is that I start my feeds when I haven't even had any coffee yet, and it's hard to focus sometimes. So if I had a producer, I'd take it out on them. So, anyways, that's what happened. Like I said, if I'm in the middle of a feed, certainly if it's in the middle of a sentence and I get cut off, it's against my wishes. But yes, I was about to tell my car story. I don't know if it's that great. It's not really that great of a story, but it just kind of fucking happened, you know. So, Happy New Year, Wolfman. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, so I took over payments on the car that I'm going to keep for multiple reasons. Um, the car I wanted to get is not an expensive vehicle, but there just aren't any available. And the timing of ended up in the lease, and you know, there's just an availability issue. There's also an interest rate issue. And I'm not going to pay $600 per payment. I don't need a car that bad. You know, if I was single, it's one thing, but anyhow, it's just a car payment. So I took over payments of my WRX car, which, there's a couple things I'm really inflexible about. I don't want to drive something that's not zippy. I don't want to drive anything that's not stick shift. And I don't want these new vehicles. They keep adding shit on vehicles that I didn't ask for. I want a stick shift. I want something that gets up to 0 to 60 pretty fast. I need Bluetooth, air conditioning, and cruise control. That's it. I don't need any of the other stuff. I don't need lane assist. I don't need boop, 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 keep your hands on the wheel, all those beeps and shit like that. Lights that turn on and stuff. I'm not interested in surfing on my phone while I'm driving, so I don't need all this extra paraphernalia that reminds me of Big Brother. Okay, as a matter of fact, every year people drive worse. They're more distracted, they're inconsiderate, they're clueless, risky behavior. So the more that happens, the more I find myself less likely to be distracted by messing with my phone while I'm driving. So, so I decided to purchase this vehicle, which I'm really happy with, for the most part. And one of the big things was, I can modify it, and I'm not touching the engine and the people that blow it up. These guys go and take these cars, and it's a car that's the size of a Corolla, so to speak. It's a little longer, and it gets almost 300 horses. Like, what do I need more power than that? It's plenty freaking fast. I love the fact that it's all-wheel drive. I've never had an all-wheel drive car before, and it's freaking amazing. You could take a corner at 40 miles an hour and hold the road. It's amazing. I don't do that all the time, but actually I don't really do that. But that's there in case you need it. But these guys will come in and they'll modify this car and spend they'll dump $20,000 into a $30,000 car, and to get 500 horses out of it, and they blow the engine up. It's like, look, it's a Japanese engine, okay? I don't know how Japanese engines were in the Second World War. Probably a piece of shit. But the Japanese engines now are freaking awesome. You take care of it, you do regular maintenance on it, and you're not going to have a problem. It's going to last you 200,000 miles. These guys blow up engines and shit like that. Well, if you want 500 horsepower, buy a 500 horsepower car. Don't, anyhow. So, little things. So what did I do before I tinted the windows, because I wasn't going to sit in three years of not having tinted windows. Figure out if I have to walk away from that, I made the vehicle better. What else did I do? I added some decals over some of the shinier parts of the turn signals and make it look better, just like some smoke. And what else did I do? Oh, I took off daylight running lights. I absolutely hate freaking daylight running lights. I don't care if they're safety. You look stupid driving around with your lights on. As a matter of fact, I was like, the first ticket I've gotten, I haven't gotten very many tickets. I may have gotten maybe, there's the 6 o'clock wake up call. How about a wake up call to tell me to put the power on the freaking computer? How about that? I've gotten maybe 6 tickets of all kinds in my life. Maybe 5 or 4. But the first one I got was having the headlight out. And I didn't know it was out. I would have replaced it. It was relatively easy. And, I don't know what it was, but it was annoying. So I do not want headlights on when I don't want headlights on. I don't want automatic headlights. I don't want none of that bullshit. So, the more things you delegate to your car, you get used to not doing. And you basically turn into a zombie. So, I had to go in and unplug stuff. And, I'm pretty comfortable. Watch a video on how to do something on YouTube. And I'm not a car person, okay? But, I'm not an idiot. I just have never done it before. I did work when I was 15 or 16 years old at a shop and helped a friend of my mom's out for a couple of years. But he had a lift, and a lift makes everything easier. Everything easier. So anyways, I wanted to replace the horn on my car because it came lame. It sounded like a sheep that was being molested and it didn't mind too much. It was just sad. And so I had ordered a horn and I watched a YouTube video on how to do it. I took my whole front bumper off, which was relatively easy to do. It was a shitload of clips, way too many clips and bolts. There's probably, I don't know, 24. I mean, and it's made out of freaking plastic. Basically, it's just a facade. And I get this horn, and between lack of instructions and not super clear and having to hook up something to the battery, the last thing I wanted to do is hook up something that was some third tier Chinese horn thing, and it best case scenario discharge my entire battery or do something on my battery, have to buy a new battery, or worst case short it out and burn the engine down. So I'm like, no. I spent about 3 hours probably messing with it, and then I'm like, I just wasn't comfortable. And there's some times where I'm just not comfortable doing something, and I'm like, that's it, I'm backing out. You know, I'm not gonna proceed any further. I don't feel comfortable doing this. That's why I don't understand like painting. I'm like uber confident doing this. I can do like fucking anything, and I'm not worried about it. But you know, when you're messing with like freaking power and stuff like that, I'm like, that's just out of my comfort zone. Because there was like things. Okay, this goes here. Like, what do I do with the old horn? What do I do with the wiring of the old? It didn't explain that kind of stuff, and I'm like, I don't need to learn on my only vehicle that I just purchased. And next thing I know, I can't go to work because there's a problem with it. So I put that back. I'd also ordered a tail light. There's almost like a tow hook. It looks like a tow hook connection on the back of my vehicle, but it's just it has like a dummy plastic plug. And there's this aftermarket light that you can get that's an extra brake light and it looks kind of cool on it. It's inexpensive. And that came in the mail. I'm gonna look at it, and if I gotta splice it into the thing, I'm not gonna do that. I think I'll just wait until have a little bit of money saved up and then have somebody professional do it. Not hey, I know a guy, dude. No, go and either have the dealership do it or have one of the experts that work on those vehicles. There's a shop in town that does that. I don't care if I got to pay extra for the labor. I'm not going to burn my car to the ground. So if you're going to do it right. But there's just some things that I'm just not comfortable with because it's not explained well. I mean, if somebody's walking me through, do this, do that, okay, I can do it. I've got the tools to be able to do it. But when things are left out and, it's not, I don't feel very comfortable. So I did the right thing. I had to put the front end of the car back together, which was a lot more challenging than it should have been because of the fit and finish. Like, I'm pretty detail oriented. So if I have a lot of trouble following directions and putting things back on that are kind of, I know it's freaking difficult. I know other people have been frustrated with that. So I'm like, nope, I'm going to back out from that. And there's some things I've encountered in my life that I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do this. The other thing I encountered recently is, this house that we got, the garage, there's access to the storage space, the attic, through the garage. The problem is the garage is the tallest garage I've ever seen in my entire life. It is, I think I measured it 16 or 17 feet and didn't come with a ladder. So we have a ladder. We have an A-frame ladder, but it's 8 feet or something like that. They don't even make one that's that tall. So we've got one of those. There's a ladder brand that's supposedly very good called Little Giant. And it's basically like an A-frame ladder that's double articulated. So, you got some articulation here and you've got another one here. So you could do all kinds of different things. Well, you can extend it all out so it's vertical. And we got one at the store, figured we need one, went down to Lowe's and picked one up. Put it up, and of course I'm the designated climb up into the roof guy. And it's in the middle of the room, so it's not up against the wall. There's nothing for me to hold on to. The ladder that is, it's just an opening in the roof. And the ladder, you have to put it on, there's like this trim piece that goes around the hole that has like a false piece of plywood that you push and move out of the way. The ladder has to lean on that trim piece, which is flimsy and almost. I'm like I'm climbing up the ladder and I'm getting this. I'm gonna fucking die feeling. I'm like, nope, nope. I'm not doing it. I failed a morale check. You know, return the ladder that same day. Fuck the attic. Somebody else can go up there, or we'll eventually get somebody professional to put something up there. But you know, there's just some things that you can't be a badass about everything. No, I'm just saying there's just some things that you're like, this doesn't sit well with me. I've climbed up and out of the attic, our old attic at the old house, 50 times probably. But this was is outright fucking scary. Outright fucking scary. Oh, the garage is freaking. It's huge. It's huge. It's like a freaking airplane hangar. Craziest thing I've seen. You're trying not to scream from the extreme pain from this headache. My God, I've never had a headache this painful before. Oh man, my condolences. If there's somebody who can't handle headaches, it's me. You're probably 4 years away from home and car ownership again in my life. Wonder how it will be. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck, Marcus, because the world after COVID. I hate to be negative, but the world after COVID isn't the same, and I don't know if it's a conspiracy. I don't think it's orchestrated by some world power, but it just gave everybody an excuse to be shitty, and people are like, well, I'm still gonna do it, oh, I don't know how people go around driving $80,000 cars. What is this? What happened over here now? I moved the mouse over and it got something off the Windows platform. Now I can't see your text. There we go. I don't know how people are paying 800, 900 plus car payments were always $300, a month. They always were. So, I'm not asking for some fancy ass vehicle, but a $35,000 vehicle. I mean, I'm like, I'm in my 50s. I should be able to afford something like that, but I'm not paying $600 a month. I'm just not going to for that. I don't need a car that bad. And then the supply problem, like, you go to these car lots and like they don't have anything. They've got shitload of models of these other things. Like, I'm not interested in that. I don't want a freaking grocery getter looking thing. You can't read chat. Sorry, guys. Can put on reading glasses. Lucky I can type without seeing, but this is absurd pain. Yeah, I wonder if it's your allergies. I can't do it. You get one of those headaches where you feel like you need to throw up to feel better, but it's just, I'd pretty much rather have anything I'd rather have anything I've ever had. I'll put it that, because there's some things I haven't had that I'm sure probably really excruciatingly. I'd rather have anything I've ever had than a headache. I cannot function with a headache. Home ownership is ridiculous too. It's ridiculous, and it's gotten bad the last, like I said, since 2020. Since 2020, it's just been ridiculous. So, and I don't think it's going to go back to it. You know. So I don't know how these people are living, because I live in an area where, yeah, there's some high paying jobs, but by and large, there's not, it's not a, this isn't a super high paying area, and he's, I don't know what these people are doing, dealing drugs on the side. I don't know. I have no idea. But there's a saying that I have that's like, people only show you you only know about people what they show you. So you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You know, you see a guy in a Mercedes, you don't know that whether or not he's living in a trailer that was handed to him. So he's got no payment at all. I want to scream, sorry, I can't be here. Okay, man. Nope. Headaches suck. But the car ownership, regardless of prices, is just like no availability. Oh, we don't know. No, we don't have this. Do you know when you're going to get it? No. So it's just annoying, you know. It's just really annoying because things weren't that way. Eating out is the same way. You know, go to restaurants, everything's super expensive, and 4 years ago, 95% of the time when we went to go eat somewhere, it was a great meal. Now it's like, I don't know if it's 50-50, but there's at least a third of a chance of being a fail. And it's not like our taste buds have changed any, you know? I mean, do we like every restaurant? No, but you go and look at reviews and like, oh, place looks good. And then you go there and it is good. Um, Except when we went on vacation at Banff because all the food there was spectacular. But here in the States, it's like there's this excuse that like, well, we're just doing the best we can since COVID. And it's just like an excuse to be sorry. I don't get to do that excuse at my job, you know? I see somewhere you're describing out in the service world. You you own a small restaurant in LA, coffee shop. You do. Uh-oh. 3%er. Not 3%er, but elite whatever. That's what I meant to see. The people that do have to take your taxes to a bookkeeper, to a tax service. We may have to do that this year. The house shit got really complicated. We still haven't closed on this house. We did an assumable mortgage, and the reason we jumped for many reasons. It was a deal too good to be true, and the government took forever to do it, and they finally gave us a clearance. I mean, we got great credit, so we don't have a problem with that. But it's just like they weren't going to make any money on it. I still think somebody's like looked at what we're doing and they're getting too good of a deal. Let's drag it out. And now it got handed to the bank, and we still haven't closed. I mean, we've assumed ownership and we're paying the guy's mortgage. So I mean, we're here, but we got money in escrow, and it's gonna be a tax issue. It's gonna be a tax issue because we lost homestead exemption because we didn't close in January. Whatever. It is what it is. It was still the right decision. That other house was just 30 years old, and something was going to happen that we were going to have to spend a lot of money to replace it, and we didn't want to do that. And the neighborhood was starting to go downhill a little bit. Like, not like we can't live there anymore because it's dangerous, but more like, oh, this neighbor doesn't give a shit about anything. He's going to drop our house in value. So, but it is what it is, But we may have to do a complicated. Our taxes we might not be able to turbo tax this year. So, Coffee shop in LA. I was spoiled on service from living in Japan. Yeah. I don't want to be negative, but it's just kind of sad. I'm getting this feeling that things are just not going to be, they're just not going to come back to how they were. And, I don't want to go back to 1950s. I'm talking about, 2018. So that's why I do this shit, because you don't worry about the outside world. Because I understand having to pay more for things. I don't understand the increase dramatically in such a little time. But anyways, you got to pay more for stuff. Stuff costs more. But not like it costs more, oh, and it's shittier too. Like, you got to keep the same level of thing. Don't pull a Games Workshop. This much Agrax Earthshade cost $7 and it's good. We're going to reduce it by a third and charge 30% more and it's going to be shittier. No, not acceptable. I'm going somewhere else. And I did. Okay, I think we're done with Costello here. So on to Chaplin. All right, we got all the road wheels painted. Now we got to do the funnest part of all, which is, what is Chaplin's number? C23, okay. And that one's going to be on the hull. I don't know that I've seen any with the hull. How's the hull number up here? Actually, I'd have to put it back here. I may not do the whole number. I may just put it on the turret. Put it on the turret. Hard to control those young workers, Tony. The government mandates higher minimum wages. Yeah. I didn't vote for that stuff. Look, I had a low-paying job starting off. I started off working at $3.25 an hour. But you don't stay at that job. You know? I wanted to go to college and do history. My dad said, you're not getting a history degree because you will fucking starve. So I didn't get a history. And I don't like to write, okay? I like history because I want to learn about shit. Really. I mean, it's entertaining for me. My dad's like, you're not going to be a teacher. Okay, well, I did something else. I got a 2-year degree in something that I make a pretty good living at, considering it's a 2-year degree. I'm probably the last generation who will be able to do that. Now everybody's got to get master's degrees, even though they're doing something that you probably didn't even need a college degree for. But I think you need to have a shitty job, not like you're being beaten on or you're sexually abused at. I'm just saying you need to have a job that you don't enjoy, so you realize, hey, I better go to college, So yeah, I've had minimum wage jobs before, but I worked at a grocery store bagging way back when I was in my before 18, and then I worked at a hobby store for a few years, and then I got my degree, and while I was finishing my degree, I got this job, and in 2 months I'll have been there 30 years. And I say, oh well, the way to get best wages is to keep moving around 2 years. I said, yeah, well, that's the people that they cut. The people that are around every 2 years, and it's not loyal. I mean, I value loyalty a lot. And you know what? The worst part about a job is finding one. It's a pain in the freaking ass, especially now. You worked at a factory, a restaurant, and a hardware store. All great experiences. I don't know that I want to work at a restaurant. Might be, I wouldn't want to work there now. There's probably nasty things going on that you don't need to see, but yeah. These people that want to just automatically make $40 an hour. Well, what you got to realize is, you don't get everything you want when you're. I didn't get my own vehicle until I was 27. I didn't get some. I was an 18-year-old driving in a Camaro and stuff like that. I mean, that's. Of course, I do have a little bit of a chip on my shoulder like that. Like, I'm not going to take public transport. I would take public transportation in New York because you can't park anywhere. But like in a city, I'm not taking public transportation. Look, I had to go to school and take the bus and ride my bike and everything. I'm not doing that shit again. I worked too hard for that crap. But I didn't have anything. I didn't have cable TV and stuff like that. These kids all want like a $1,500 iPhone and all that shit, and and they only want and don't want to work a full day. And while they're not working that full day, they want to play. They want to surf around on the web. It's just I don't know what it is. I don't. We got problems in this country, and I'm sure it's the same problems everywhere else. I think it's a combination of things. I think social media is big. Not the kind of social media I do because I use it for the hobby, but all you do is you see the stuff people have and not the hard work they've had to put in to get it. I mean, unless the stuff got handed to them, I don't think there's that many people that have things handed to them. But you only see and people follow movie stars and these elites that they might as well be from another planet than the rest of us. I don't worship any of those people. They're all weird, and they got all kinds of issues that I haven't even thought of. But it's not going to be a fun experience. I used to not mind buying a car. And I'm fine with cars being MSRP. But this, not available, people wanting to charge more than MSRP, I hate haggling. I absolutely hate haggling. So just tell me how much something is. And if I like it, that's cool. And if not, I'll go somewhere else. If I want to buy two of something, well, then maybe we can make a deal. But, the price of one thing is the price that's on there. It's just annoying. You just waste somebody's fucking day. We've overpraised kids, in my view. I suffer from it as well. It's important to develop a sense of hard work for reward. Yeah, it's good to do things for yourself. I mean, you need your folks' help. You need your folks' help. My daughter's going to college. We're paying for it, as my parents did for me. But the rest you gotta have to do on your own. I mean, and she's doing really well so far, hopefully. And doesn't seem like she's being contaminated at college, which I personally wasn't really worried about, because I'm not necessarily a wishy-washy person. Like, well, I have strong opinions, but I'm not going to tell my daughter about it. Oh, fuck no. I don't keep my mouth shut. And then if you want to do something with that, that's cool. And if you don't, well, but at least I said my part. Not like, well, my daughter wants to grow up and be a unicorn. So who am I to stop her? You're the fucking adult. That's who you are. You can't be a fucking unicorn. I don't care how much you want to, you're not allowed to be a unicorn. All right, let's do these bloody numbers. I make sure I don't use any repeat numbers. The odds of that, if I accidentally do two numbers that are the same, I should go play the lottery. Okay, we're going to end this one in a 9. Actually, we need to start in the middle. So let's use 9 for the middle number. Kids see the rewards of reality TV or becoming an influencer. I think that's the only way to make decent money. No work ethic. You're absolutely right. That and, parents that just aren't doing their job. We're not all parents, but we're not all perfect, but, you know, I think substance abuse has a lot to do with it. I really do. I really do. People are using substances to just get through every day. I'm even guilty of it. Caffeine. I couldn't get through a day without caffeine. Yeah, the social media is really a pollutant. It is. I mean, it doesn't pollute me as much because I'm kind of already set in my ways, you know? That's why, I was reading a review. My wife was asking me, hey, what about this show that I heard all these people are talking about? Don't let your kids watch it. Some new show that's on Netflix or a movie or something like that. And my wife is so I knew she wasn't going to watch it because my wife is like the worst, the world's worst about watching TV. She'll only watch like romantic comedies or things that make her feel good. And I want to see the thrillers and action kind of stuff. I like that kind of stuff. I don't do horror, but I do thrillers and stuff like that. 1, 2, 3. We got 3 more. Okay, so the first 2 are going to be 3 zeros. So let's make this one a 4. And I forgot what the name of the thing is, but I looked it up, and it looked like it was some kind of horror, like disturbing movie. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to read what it says about it on Wikipedia, right? Because if it's disturbing and it's not paranormal, I'll watch. Is it paranormal? Doesn't really bother me. It's demonic shit. I won't watch demonic crap. It puts ideas in your fucking head. The next thing you know, you can't walk across the living room with a dark light. You keep looking over your shoulder. You'll spook yourself. So I don't watch shit like that. I don't watch demonic crap. I looked at the synopsis and I'm like, this is like something that if you're not set in your ways well and you watched it, you can have problems. But a lot of the things is like, I've watched scary things before in my life when I was a kid, and it didn't disturb my sense of reality. I still understood it was a freaking movie, and that's not what real life is about. But I'm not sure everybody's wired the same way. There's some people now that they just get too attached to movies or actors or fake characters, and they just somehow think that that's part of real life. And I don't know this. I don't know what's going on with people. Medication. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I mean, I've always played violent video games and never had an urge to go out and shoot people. And now it happens all the time. And I don't think that you could, I mean, it would be knives or something else. It would just be, that just didn't happen when I was a kid. And I don't know, it wasn't that long ago. Or maybe it was. I don't feel like it was that long ago. That just didn't freaking happen. And so, is it medication? Is it lack of father figures? Is it lack of, I don't know. I know the solution is not have any more kids. I don't know. But as I've gotten older, I'm more like, I don't get, I'm going to tell you my opinion. If you don't like it, that's fine. I got to hear all your stupid freaking opinions. And I have to keep my mouth shut. So I'm going to say mine. If you don't like mine, you have to understand there's going to be other people that don't live in your fantasy world of your barista fantasy world. Kids programming I was talking about the other day. Every kids show that's on Disney Channel, every like preteen kids show that's on Disney Channel is always kid or kids with parent figures. And the parent figures are fucking stupid. I don't know how they hold a job, but they hold a job. Okay. But they're not wise. They're stupid. They get picked on by the children. And it's like, I think it's subliminally as told, the kids that basically parents are stupid and you should just ignore whatever they say, and you're wise or wise, you're as wise or wiser than they are. And while that may be the case with some parents, because they're, I think that's the exception to the rule. I don't know, I just want to retire. Somebody says, what do you want to be when you grow up? There's only one right answer: retired. Unless you think you're going to be somebody that's going to be bored when you're retired. I think I've got plenty to do. I think I've got plenty to keep me busy. As long as I don't get the shakes or something like that. I'd rather get the shits than the shakes. Because I could wear a diaper and still be on there. I might be make some sounds when I'm shifting from one side to the other. Don't take my painting away, please. Nine's the middle number. Yep. Hobby time, man. Everything's good here. So, anyways, all these problems that have crept up in the last 20 years, I don't know. I don't know that we can go back to it. I think it would take a world war, and we might have to lose it this time to make things really, really bad for to start over. So it's just kind of just do what we can do. I don't watch the news. I don't worry about that other stuff. There's nothing I can do about it. but you said you own a coffee business in California. I don't know how. I don't have the personality type to own any business, because it's not just money in, money out. It's, oh well, we're having an inspection by the government. Oh well, you don't have this. Well, I didn't know that. Oh, we changed the law, 6 months ago, and they're always. It's just too difficult. It's just too difficult. There's too much government here to try to run a business, in my opinion. It's too much CYA. We all do plenty of CYA in our jobs. Running a business, it's even more CYA. And it'd be like, I'm not trying to go around the system. I just want to what are the rules to do the right thing? And it's just like, it's impossible. It was like when I was trying to wire that horn yesterday. I can't do this. It's too much. I don't have the personality type for it. And I already have a hard enough time trying to use. I couldn't use my vacation time all last year. I couldn't use them all. I don't get that much. I don't get that much considering I've been there almost 30 years and I couldn't use it all. It's just too difficult to get away from work. You get punished having to pick up the pieces when you get back. Having to do everything and then having to pick up the pieces when you get back. That it's just too difficult to get off work. And I've heard these people that are business owners and they can't ever take a vacation. And I'm like, it's just ridiculous. I had a local partner, but more of the work is falling on me trying to find some solutions. Well, I'd say send me over there, but I don't think I'd live in California. Just the earthquakes alone. Let me go make another coffee. We'll be right back. I'm not even going to shut the screen down. Just the government, just to regulate, just the way that the regulations are written in, the language that they're, you know, it's worse than Phil Barker. It's worse than Phil Barker. Chaplain, huh? Yeah, everything the government touches just overcomplicates it. So I was driving into town yesterday and I saw some hippie mobile that had 1,000,000 bumper stickers on it. And if you ever see a car that has the whole back of it covered in bumper stickers, that's some bitch that doesn't know when to shut the fuck up. It's just somebody who just. Sorry, you knew the type. This area is teeming with them. And they had one bumper sticker that said "Tax the Rich," and it got me thinking. It got me thinking. That's not the problem. The problem isn't taxing the rich. It's that it's the same problem with the court system. If you go to the court system and you get accused of doing some crime, right? You should have a sentence. That's the sentence you should serve if everything goes well. Not like you're going to serve 10 years and then, oh, wait, you behaved okay, so we'll let you off in a year and a half. That's the problem with it. Taxing the rich isn't the problem. The problem is that, they pay, there's all these excuses they can come out with not paying whatever the rate is. So you think, oh, well, they're paying, 30% or 35% or whatever, but they have all these excuses of not paying all this stuff that most people don't have. Just freaking make it a straight percentage across the board and nobody gets any excuses. It's the excuses that are the problem. The excuses are basically you can't do your own taxes. It creates apathy. When's the last time that you read like they're going to pass some law and you're going to read all the description? You can't understand that stuff because it's written so that you basically have to use a lawyer to get through it all, understand what the hell it means. So what do most of us do? Do whatever the fuck you want. Leave me alone. I'm just going to smoke a joint. Well, I don't do that part, but I'm just saying that's basically, it creates apathy. You've just complicated shit so much that, that you just create apathy in the population. So get rid of excuses. Taxes should be like you either pay a flat amount across 30% or whatever the hell you want it to be. But it's so damn complicated. It's so damn complicated. And I think they do that so people can get away with shit. I don't live my life that way. I'm not a dishonorable person, Like, okay, we're going to take taxes off you as a percentage of, I was explaining this to my wife. She didn't understand when she was working part-time. She just had a kid. She just had a kid. Yes, I had the kid too, but she actually was the one that had it for me. Anyhow, we had just had our daughter and she was working part-time and she didn't understand why when you're doing your stuff on TurboTax, we're going to get this much back. We're going to get this much back. Oh, that's good. And then we added her income and how much we got back went way back. I said, well, the reason is because you're getting small paychecks. She's like, well, does that have to do with anything? I said, well, I agree, but that's just the way it is. If you have a very large paycheck and they would normally take out 25%, now they would take off like 35%. But if you get paid in a bunch of little checks, they don't take enough of the federal income tax out. So it's messed up. It's just absolutely messed up. So I was trying to explain that to her. She's like, it doesn't make sense. I agree, it doesn't make sense. I didn't design the system. You're working on an S model Pack 36. These models are excellent. Yeah, no, I was going through S model. Somebody asked me on one of the forums about S model, and I realized I'd only built one S model thing before. It was the Panzer IIs. and other than the fact that some of the decals came with orange instead of yellow. So in other words, the color was off on the decals. I got like 6 or 7 vehicles for the two. So you build 2 vehicles, you have a bunch of other decals that you can use for something else. They fit together wonderfully. I can't say enough good things about. Oh, that reminds me. When is that other one being delivered? I get it'd probably be delivered tomorrow on a work day, of course. Let's see. That's on eBay. Is being processed around here. My eBay purchases track package. Shipment, okay, yesterday, 8:03 in the morning. Shipment received, semicolon, package acceptance pending. Here in the town the town I used to live in, which is probably well, it was supposed to deliver between this past Friday and and Friday of next week. So I'm sure it will come in between then, but we'll see. And this is hell, I'll show you. I'll steal my own thunder. I'll show you what's coming in. Well, I'd like a bigger picture of it so I could show everybody. Anything I can't show you on here? No, we're good. This thing, it's from SS Model. It's a 3D printed A13 for the desert. So they're $17 and $5 shipping. And if you order multiple of them, you can get them down to about 15 and change each, which is what I'll do if they end up being a hit. But I wanted to get some of these for some of the desert scenarios that I have. But if you buy the S model one, it's not the version that was used in the desert, and then you have to buy a conversion kit that costs $20. So it doesn't make sense to go the S model route on this one. So we'll see how this turns out. We'll do a live unboxing on it whenever I get it in. I'm terrible about keeping secrets and not stealing my own thunder, you know? I've just given up. You got to order things from China. I'm not going to do it through Temu. I'll do it through eBay or Amazon or, you know, got to have an intermediary. You know, if they're going to steal my credit card information, they would do it. It doesn't really matter whether that it's going from something to China or PayPal. Those three: PayPal, Amazon, or because if you don't get it, you can get one of those entities to refund you your money. You know, I don't know what the hell Temu is, and I'm not interested. I don't know what Temu is or TikTok or none of that crap. I don't do none of those things. Chaplin, huh? And we need a paper towel. Yeah, they complicate things too much. And I'm one of those people and I've said this before, you know, I have a relatively stressful job. If I have to take medication for my job, I need to change jobs. Okay, taking because they complicate things too much. Like, you can't do shit like that. Some great kits come. They can do a good job if they want to. They can do a good job if they want to. Chaplin, huh? Pretty good. Now, the real vehicles, they're always stenciled. I'm not going to buy stencils and do that stuff. It looks a little too impersonal, honestly, to me. It looks better hand painted, you know. Now this one we got to write it backwards so we don't encroach on the star and it ends up looking weird. So we just got to do all the letters in reverse order. One stroke at a time. And the main thing is really get the spacing on the verticals in the right place. So speaking of the rich, which I'm not a member of, and I don't necessarily have any problem with it, but I actually found out something interesting while I was on vacation. It kind of went against my libertarian worldview. But in Banff, what they told me is it is forbidden for the elites to go in there and buy everything up. And the reason why is because then the people that work there can't afford to live there. And I thought about that. And on the surface, it sounds a little bit too protectionist for my own thoughts. But then I thought about it and I'm like, that makes a lot of sense because then the next thing you know, it's, and what's happened what keeps happening all the time is, these people that have, more money than we ever even thought about, they have to put it in places. They drive the cost up for everybody else. And then, you got nobody that can work at the Starbucks in town because they can't afford to. So they were telling me what they were paying and assuming they were telling me the truth, it seemed like the housing is more affordable than it is even here. But that's good because they need a place to live. You can't just have people like, well, I got to work at a Starbucks. Well, where is it? It's in Banff. Well, where do you live? I live about 100 miles away. I got to drive in. Nobody can afford to live there. They wouldn't have anybody to live there. So you do need some protectionisms from the abuses, and that's where I think the government should stop. You got to have just enough government to get people that want to play dirty. You got to keep them on their toes, because next thing you know, they just run away with it, Just enough. And then that's it. They can go back and take the rest of the days off like they do. 40 vacation days a year, 40 holidays a year, however many they get. Oh, Chaplin. Okay. What did we say it was? C23? C23? Let me see how somebody pulled off the numbers in the back of the turret. I don't want to get halfway in it and be like, I don't like how that looks. So let's see if I can do a search for Sherman tank. Turret number back of turret and see if I get any hits on pictures. Images. Because there was a decal set that had it. And I don't know that I have personally actually seen a picture of a Sherman with a number on the back of the turret. And I still haven't encountered it. So if I don't see some examples of it, I'm not going to do it. Just because it's going to be one of those things that's just going to look wrong to you. The Sherman tank site. Sherman tank turrets and turret components. Yeah. Oh, this is like, I guess, if I want to build my own. You know, the thing about the Sherman tank is it's not very attractive, but it's not ugly. And I'll be damned if not every single one of them is different. You know, so they got a lot of personality, I think. I think the most unattractive thing about the Sherman is how they were painted, just being in drab. I mean, sure they did camouflage, but for the most part, they're all like in olive drab. Now, I think it's probably an effective camouflage color, you know, but it's just, like I said, the German stuff paints itself because of that, because it's the opposite end of that. Although there's a lot of paint schemes for the Germans, and I'm like, I would never paint that. It doesn't look right. As they say in England, it doesn't look right to my eye. Britain, England, United Kingdom, I use them all interchangeably. I know the difference. Okay. Are we comfortable with not having any numbers? Well, not all the Stuarts have numbers, do they? Yeah, not all the Stuarts have numbers. 2 of them do and 2 of them don't. I'm not going to put turret numbers on this one. Executive decision. Besides, this one has more markings than the other ones. This one has 2 turret tops, none on the side. This one has 2 on the side and the front, none on the top. And then this one has top and sides, but no numbers. There you go. Keeping it real, mixing it up. Okay, and we did the foresight to go ahead and paint all of the road wheels and stuff. So we can just dry brush now. Knock it out. Uh-oh. This one done dried up. Somebody commented recently, oh, the main ingredient of this hand sanitizer is isopropyl alcohol. I said, that's true. But what makes this such a successful thing is that it's gel. If this was like water, I'd get like this shit all over me. You know, the secret is because this is a gel. So you don't get to, you're not wearing it. And this stuff smells good too. And there's some nasty smelling hand sanitizers, it depends, but I got the Purell stuff. That stuff smells good. And I bought it when it was buy one, get one free, and that was a long time ago, and I still have both. I have one of them in my car, and I have the other one here. And I've got probably a third of this one left. So now let's put this in dirty water. I'm not going to go and rinse this right now. And I just, I screwed myself out of a paper towel. Oh, man. I got one of the paper towel holders, but it's on the other desk. So after we're done with this, I'm not sure what direction I'm going to go in. I should probably finish some Soviet stuff, since I have that. I got a couple other American things to do. I've got I want to say it's a Fujimi. I bought it already built. I want to say it's a Fujimi Sherman with a 105, with HVSS suspension, but it's 176 scale. And I've got an M4A376 from Matchbox already pre-built, and it's pretty big. It's almost like 170th scale. It's a really big model. Got that to do. I got 3 American half tracks. And that may be everything. That may be everything for the Amerikaners. Now, one thing I did not want to do, I didn't want to pour this live stuff here, so I'm going to use, get over there in the corner, stop causing trouble. I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to put, this is the beige brown, where is the, here it is. U.S. Field Draft. Man, I need to buy some more of this stuff. I'm getting really low on this. And this is a crucial color. That's what I should do today. I should go to what do I call that place? Nerd Burglars R Us. The game store. Maybe there'll be a dwarf sighting there, a midget. I really don't like to go in there. They got a good selection of paints, but I really don't like going there. That place is a bit Marxist for me. I'll wait until I have to actually go into town. Not like I live out in the country, but I just live in a smaller suburbia. Another thing that Canada, the funny thing is now, I understand, I didn't see all of Canada, just the part of Canada that I saw. There's a lot of things that they did right. I was really impressed. I was really impressed. There's a lot of things that they did right. Of course, if I'm selling gas and it's $6 a gallon, equivalent, I'm gonna put gas stations a lot more prominently than the Canadians did. I had trouble finding any. But one of the things, I don't think I mentioned it before. One of the things that I think that they did really well is bathrooms. Almost all bathrooms that I encountered in Canada were individual bathrooms, and I haven't had a bad experience in a bathroom. So don't jump at me with that. But if we're living in this time where you're worried about whether people are male, female, it, they, them, these, whatever, then just make individual bathrooms, and you can pretend to be a narwhal in there if you wanted to. You know, you don't need a bathroom for male and female and narwhals and unicorns and trees, whatever it is you want to identify as. Make individual bathrooms, and you could just I feel a lot more comfortable if I've had a young daughter before, and when she was real little, I'd take her into the bathroom with me if it was an individual bathroom, because I don't want a 4 or 5 year old going into the bathroom with who knows who. So make them individual bathrooms. That's something I can get behind. Everywhere in Canada pretty much had those. Perfect. You can be whatever the hell you want to be. In the bathroom, we're all having plumbing issues. So just go in there and have that fun stuff alone. There's no reason to have conversation with folks in bathrooms and stuff like that. I always thought that kind of weird. I go in there and do my business, and I don't make any fucking eye contact or anybody with a bathroom. You're in there and you're doing, not something that's freaking pleasant. Go out and be social when you get out of the fucking bathroom. But just about all the bathrooms were individual in Canada I ran into. Hey, that's a good change. I can get behind that. What else? I was going to say a couple other things. I came back actually pretty impressed. Not enough to live there. I'm not going to, well, I'm leaving, I'm going to Canada. No, I'm good here. I'm just saying that, I'm not going to talk shit about them. Banff and Jasper was beautiful countryside, easy to get to. Never made it to Jasper. Still amazed at Century Box Shop in Calgary. I went a long time ago, and I'm tempted to go again just for that. It is pretty amazing. Did I tell you the part about I went and checked out, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to do a video for you guys, and I went and checked out of actually, I was talking to them, and they were all, gamers are so fucking weird. Gamers are so fucking weird. Hey, I'm gonna do this film, and because your story's freaking great, and like, oh yeah, really? I'm like, yeah, man, it's freaking like a time machine going back to another time. And I had bought all this loose stuff, which I needed to put in my car. I didn't want it sloshing all over the place. Do you have a bag? I said, no. The government is no. we don't have any bags, and the government, not like we don't have plastic bags, because plastic bags are a fucking mess, right? They're shitty. They rip. They fly all over the place, and they litter everything, and they're ugly. Forget about saving the earth. They're freaking dirty and litter shit. No, we don't have any bags, and the government does not allow us to order any. And I'm like, oh fuck, I can't stand this one down. And I told him, I said, man, we have too much government in the States, and you guys definitely have way too much government. And he was like, he had this face, he didn't have a reply. He was like, oh, somebody said something bad about the imperial federal government here in Canada. Yeah. It's hard enough to run a fucking business, okay? And then running a gaming store? That's a really niche thing to try to run a business. And then you're going to be dictated by a government that you can't buy bags? It's like, you know what? Fucking why don't you run the store, government? Fuck it, I'm getting worked up. Only one cup of coffee for Tony. So I couldn't have my own business. I'm telling you, I'd take that shit personal. I'm fine with paper bags. You can't have all this loose. I'm fine. I like going to the grocery store and bringing my own reusable ones because they freaking stack a lot better, right? But sometimes you got to go buy and get groceries. I don't have them with me. I left them at home. Yes, I was stupid. I didn't put them back in the car when I left. And I need to pick up these things on the way home. Or, I tell you what, I can go home. I could burn extra fuel, which is also bad for the environment, and then come back. Or I can just use the bags from you. So, which way do you want me to destroy the earth, Those guys didn't know what to say. It's like, well, you're in a lot of people get in these echo chambers, whether it is, and all they do is they hear their own opinion and they don't know anything else. You think you're a genius when all you've done is worked at a part-time job and you're 18 years old and you have all the answers. You need to get out in the real world. Work somewhere unpleasant, unlike a hobby store. I've worked at a hobby store. It's pleasant as fuck working at a hobby store, okay? It doesn't pay the bills. But I never didn't look forward to going to the hobby store to work. Never. Every day it was like awesome, Yeah, didn't pay the bills though. I'd like to have a car one day. I can't work here, Yeah, that part of Canada is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. Just unbelievable. I guess it's just something different. Just like some clowns probably from that area come to Florida and want to go look at the swamp. I'm sorry, the swamp's fucking ugly. I don't think we need to destroy it. I'm just saying that, you're comparing apples to oranges, Absolutely drop dead gorgeous country. And happy people. For the most part, everybody was happy there. Unlike Colorado. People are not happy in Colorado. And they're doped up all the time. Okay, let's do the lighter shade now. The lighter color. Is it really a shade? I don't know. ¿Dónde está? Where did it go? No, 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 no. That's dark sand, so that's not it. Iraqi sand, where art thou? That's buff. Did I put it back and this is it? Yeah, why did I do that? I have to punish myself later for being incompetent. Overkill. Let's get some of this. I don't want these darker colors in here. So hopefully that A13 is pretty cool. Because I could use about 5 more of them. Of course, if I get done with this, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do because yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do because I'm not gonna spray yet. We'll figure something out. I don't want to wake up anybody that's sleeping. It's so much easier to control than do some kind of overspray with an airbrush. For me, anyways. And I'm looking forward to airbrushing again, and I don't mean just clear coating, because that's just boring, but I'm gonna keep going with that 0.5 needle. The 0.5 needle is working a lot better. It's too small a needle that the airbrush came with. So I don't know that I can get super intricate stuff, but I don't think I need to do anything super intricate. But the Vallejo primer went through it no problem without a jam. So that that 0.15 difference between the 35 and the 50 made all the difference in the world. And that's good because I was getting kind of discouraged. You know, that I was having so much trouble with the airbrush. I considered myself a fairly detail-oriented person. And it's like, man, this is getting a little too challenging. I do want to do some airbrushing videos, you know, I'm never going to be an airbrush guy, but there's some things that, you know, there's some hiccups that I've encountered that it's hard to get a right answer to. It's hard to get a right answer to the questions that you have. So that's one of the things right off the bat, you know, make sure if you're having trouble with because they'll tell you all these things like you need to thin this and you need to thin the other thing, and you know, oh, you're supposed to thin the surface primer. I don't think you are, because it behaves very different. It behaves really weird when it gets into thinner. It's not like normal paint. It's that polyurethane part of it. It just makes it behave really differently. Do I have some figures mapped out for the open top vehicles? That's an excellent question. So I've got a self-propelled gun crew from Drew's Militia, I'm pretty sure. But that's it. I've only got one. So I don't think I'm going to be able to populate it with folks. I may be able to put like one guy inside the M8 armored car, maybe a guy in here, but I don't have enough to do all the crews. I also don't have dismounts. So, you know, when something like this vehicle, this M20, gets knocked out and the crew survives, I need to have figures for all the guys so they can, you know, bail out and do stuff. I mean, look, it's a skirmish game. So, you know, even if they're armed with 45s, you know, 1911s, they still are useful. It's not like you can do a suicide charge with them, but, you know, you still need to have them. So, when I get tired of just building stuff just to build it, I'm probably going to, you know, build something for a scenario and have like, you know, all, you know, crews. For I don't need 5 figures for every tank, but like if I'm doing a scenario with 3 Shermans, I probably need to have about 6 dismounted figures. You know, so when they get knocked out, you know, you can have the figures for them. Now, the dismount figures are not going to have the names on them. I'm just going to have some kind of designated. So if you got like the gunner maybe bails out and the assistant machine gunner or whatever bails out, he could be represented by this figure. But just so you have a figure for it. But you bought an M7 model recently. Have been eyeing some figures from AB. Yeah, AB is so expensive. And I'm not opposed to buying them. I don't need them bad enough. And AB really came on the scene a little too late for me. Well, what do you mean? They've been having them around forever. I said, well, 20 years ago or 30, however many years ago when I was buying World War II stuff, they had, they only had, they have very limited things that they had. And now they have a lot of stuff, but I'm not really in the buying mode right now for figures. I got a ton of figures, and I have a ton of figures that I like. So it's not like I want to replace them with, you know, ABs, which I don't have a problem with ABs, but I don't need to replace the figures that I have. I like all the figures that I have. So, to be continued. But the first thing I need to do with figures is just remount all the ones I have, which I think is going to take a fair bit amount of time. But I haven't been too interested in doing that at the moment. I've spent 20 years painting figures. I want to do some vehicles, mainly for the challenge. I know the figures. I know I'm going to be happy with how the figures turned out. I've been happy with my figures for years. And I'm happy with the figures I did in the 90s. I just don't like their basing. And I didn't know any better. That's what we used to do. We used to paint the base in a certain color, and then while that color was wet, you dip it in the Woodland Scenics flock. You know, the foamy shit. The real fine foamy stuff. That's what we did. That's what everybody did. You didn't know there was other methods of doing stuff. Not until the internet came around, and by the time that came around, I was no longer doing World War II stuff. I got zero regrets about not doing Ancients and Medievals, though. I spent enough time with that. That doesn't mean I'm not going to go back to it, but I'm not going to go back to DVA. I'll make my own system, or just do them just to do them. I do like the heraldry research stuff. That's the part I really, really like. So. The old Madus. M7 Priest. Who'd you get it from? Who makes an M7 Priest? You know what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to find an M10 that's reasonably priced. That has a, I just can't find one that's reasonable. I think I'm gonna have to whenever I go to the M10s. I think I'm gonna have to get the ones from UM. I think I'm gonna have to get the UM ones, and they're about $20 a piece. I don't mind putting them together. I mean, I'd much rather not have to put the suspension because I'm more of a painter than a builder. I don't have a problem building things. It's just I'd rather spend my time painting them than building them. But that's just me. But the Armor Fast ones just don't have any interior detail at all. Italeri, okay. As we used to call them back in the 90s, Italieri. Because they had, they had the little red, white, and green stuff all over, motto all over it. So, no, it's got to be Italian. Italieri. Italeri. The price on their stuff's all over the place. And they got some affordable tank kits, but all their turret hatches are closed. Which, I only want one turret hatch open for every 6 or something, so you could put a guy in there just to give it a sense of scale, just for variety. You have two. Oh, they come in a 2-pack. Okay. They don't make an M10, do they? think they do. Mr. Jeffrey, Armor Fast needs work, but there are extras available, but at a cost. Yeah, you guys have a typical. Everything I want comes from Britain. What is it? Red Dog? Red Dog, there's a couple of companies, and they're both in England, that you can get bits and bobs for to dress them up. I need to buy one of those bits and bobs set. I don't know if this is legal, but tough. I want to get one and then use that material to cast some more, and that way I don't have to keep buying that stuff. I don't know how that'll work. Sometimes I put a high value on my time, so I might be just better off just buying extra packs, but like the honeys and shit like that. Get some. I may end up putting extra stuff on here, but I'm not going to do it until after I'm done. And see if I still have the motivation to do it. Sometimes you can get bogged down in the details and don't get anything done. You cogitate about what pieces are going to be on here, what extra little knapsacks or what have you, and you don't get the rest of it done. So that's why I wanted to power through and get these done. That's how I did the other Shermans. I think I didn't glue them on or paint them until I was completely done with them. So Blue Dog, Red Dog, something like that. It might even be Black Dog. Everything I want always comes from Britain. I would have picked up some of those 3D printed vehicles already, but the shipping on them is just astronomical. You know, for one, because I want to get one and test the waters, you know. Mr. Jacques, welcome. Happy Sunday. Hopefully you don't have to do anything court related today. Well, this one dried on me. I think that's it. 3 Shermans. Well, we set these guys off to the side. I know the next thing I need to do is I need to cut out bases for them. And for that, we want to use the same size as these, just to be consistent. Do they fit on there just fine? Yes. All right. So we need to get 3, and then slop that stuff on. Pretty sure I'm gonna have to use whole ones for for these. The remnants. This is, I mean, that's a big piece. Well, there wouldn't be a remnant of this size. And now I got to put these back on to find out where the X-Acto knife is. I mean, it should be right here, but it's actually over here and I can't see. All right. Yep. All right, put you away. Let's mark the other two. And these are just shims I got from work that they didn't need them. So there's a finite supply of these things, but I already found a replacement for it, which is the Evergreen, I believe it was the .2 sheeting, which I have to use for larger vehicles. The KVs, the JSs, Panthers. You have a bigger footprint than this provides. But we've got all these little remnants that we keep for, like, you know, Kubelwagens and motorcycles and stuff like that that we may need. I always use the same one, because if you're off by a little bit, you don't want to encroach on the dimensions. You start walking around and next thing you know, they get smaller, smaller, and smaller. Okay, so these go in the remnants. Might even be able to put a truck on them. And let's cut some corners. I'm gonna need to get tweezers to get in there. Let's see. It might take a while for this to dry today, considering how moist and cold it is. Not that cold, but it dries a lot easier at 70 degrees than at 40. All right. Now the part, I'm going to make a mess here. And it's just part of the situation. perfect, but just soften the transitions between those. I like this better than the corners. And then we'll put magnets on the bottom of them for ease of transport and for consistency. Which I thought, what do I need this for? I'm not really going to transport them anywhere else, but hey, when you move, it came in really handy to move them, and they didn't slide all over the place. I don't know if this makes that much of a difference, but I've been doing it every time, so just rough it up to get a better purchase on the goop that we're going to put on it. Magnet, I prefer it to actually be flush, so we'll put the magnet on the other side. Now, I'm crazy. I need to get the magnets down here. I gotta be careful. I got sheet steel down here too. And I don't want to put sheet steel on it. That's definitely magnet. Perfect. Only reason I even had sheet steel was the first carrying case I ever made for my 15mm figures. I used like a Play-Doh box. And I put and I lined it with sheet steel so that the magnets could stick on it, because I didn't want to make a metal carrying thing because it's freaking heavy, and I was traveling by plane and stuff to the cons, to Historicon in particular, and I needed to carry them with me. But what happened is that when you have a thin bit of magnet that's on the bottom of the stand and a thin piece of sheet steel, which looks just like magnet. It's nearly the same. It's the same thickness. The bond isn't that strong, so they don't. It doesn't. There's not that much grippage on it. So my preference is to have a metal carrying thing with magnet on the bottom. That way only one of the two surfaces is thin. Okay? I'm not a science guy, but when you have something that has a lot more heft to it, the ions or whatever, it has a lot more grip and resistance to it. When you have two thin things, there's only so much resistance it can provide. So I would much prefer to have, the whole metal carrying case, which is what I do now, those baking trays. I mean, it's a huge fucking tray, right? So even though one of them is just the magnet is thin, the other side has a lot of, what's the word I'm thinking of? There's a lot of mass to it. There you go, mass. So two things with very little mass are not going to work really well. I'd rather have one of them have really big. So your alternative is to have a metal tray that has a lot of mass with a magnet that does not have very much, or you would have to use sheet steel or even steel on the bottom of a stand and then line something with thin magnet. So the only way to get one bigger, a lot bigger than the other, if you add the thicknesses of the two, is to make a metal carrying tray. And so it provides a lot more resistance so that they don't bang into each other. My layman's way of beating around the bush to explain why I use what I do. But that's just kind of, what I've noticed. So my preference is to use the metal carrying thing. So I have this sheet steel that I don't really have a use for. Other than there's a couple of DVA stands that I made so that you can put them together if you need to. So I just cut out a little piece and put them on there so they'll actually stand on there together. I think they stay together a little bit better when you have them up on the battlefield. But since I'm not doing that these days, I don't have a use for them, so to speak. All right, so let's cut this a little bit narrower than that. And the metal, some people are like, I just use metal stands, that's why, and I stick them to magnets. Well, that's cool, but the metal stand isn't going to be as thick as the carrying thing is, so it's going to have less mass, so it's not going to have as much grippage. But hey, you do things however you want to do. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not here to convert anybody. I don't get in people's business, You do whatever the hell you want. Yeah, we can get 3 out of here. But that's why I use what I use. There could be madness, but there's got to be method. Because I want to protect the stuff that I did. I don't want to have to spend time fixing stuff when I could be creating new things. That's just a good way to get frustrated. But I don't plan on traveling with this stuff. If I game, it'll be here. It won't be somewhere else. But it's not really something I'm worried about in detail. Like I said before, I don't think gaming is therapeutic. It's fun. All right. This is what's left of this one. I think we're going to call this one dead. There's hardly any in there. I'm going to be wasteful and throw that away. It lasted about a year. And I used up damn near all of it. So let's grab the new one, which is now called, with repackaging, somebody mentioned it might have even been Jeffrey, it's for dummies. They went to this type of writing on it instead of this one, which this was fine. Probably somebody in the marketing said, hey, we're not selling enough of these. We need to change our marketing. No, it's a niche product. People aren't going to go to Starbucks and order Vallejo ground texture. All right, where is my contraption that keeps me from getting goop on myself as much? Right here. Yummy. Wonder how long before they don't make this material because it's not sustainable. Oh. Not get any on our hat. Only reason I'm wearing a hat is I got bed hair. I damn near always take a shower before I go to bed. It's my preferred method. So I think this morning I woke up and I had a cockle-doodle-doo, and I'm like, well, we're going to be wearing a hat today. While we're on the show. Very, very gritty sometimes. Wipe the edges. Make sure I wipe this one. I don't remember. Okay. Tony, please don't start eating the paste. Boy, I would really mess up your teeth. I have good teeth. So I'm not from Britain. I had to throw that one in there. Americans, for the most part, we're pretty much Nazis about teeth. But my vision's messed up. My hearing is really messed up. Really messed up. But I have good teeth. When I was in grade school, that was the big thing. You'd have to bring your list of supplies you'd have to bring to school, and paste was one of them. You know, you'd use it for like one project during the year, but you had to have a whole thing of paste. And I never saw somebody eating paste or glue, but I always heard stories about it. And both of them were pretty. You wouldn't want to eat this stuff. The paste is pretty much free of aggregate. This stuff is heavy on the aggregate. You would sand your freaking teeth to a level you would not want them at. When you start doing, your teeth would look like a carnivore. When you're done, your teeth would be like Diplodocus. There's my dinosaur reference for the day. Assuming that's one of those dinosaurs they haven't nixed from my childhood. I don't think it is. They always did, there's no such thing as a brontosaurus. Well, what? Oh, now it's something or another, and they put the bones together, and all right. Stop putting feathers on my fucking dinosaurs, you freak. Stop killing my dinosaurs of my youth, and stop putting feathers on Tyrannosaurus Rex. Dinosaur with a feather boa. Why do you always have to pussify everything? 21st century can't deal with testosterone. There are some things that have feathers that are badasses. Freaking birds of prey are awesome. Dinosaurs with feathers. Go fly a kite up your ass. Not interested. I keep thinking I'm going to play that dinosaur game, and I have it. Is it here recently? I bought the set of rules. They look pretty decent. Cretaceous, I believe is what it's called. I think it was here. Anyhow. Okay, that is the basing for the Shermans. So the Shermans are complete, other than sealing and basing. Same thing with the armored cars, same thing with the Stuarts. So now we can get rid of these two that have been sitting up here. These Altaia Shermans. I need some more M4 and M4A1s, and M4A3s. Although I got two M4A3s and they're both Corgi 176 scale ones. Die-cast, one-piece things. They're a little small, but whatever. They were like $5 a piece way back when I got them. I should have bought more. Had I known. If only I had known. Okay. I'm going to go use the restroom, and I'll be right back on another adventure. Right back, folks. Okay, well that didn't take long. Well, Ben, since you're here, and you're the only one that seems to care, or the only one that seems to know, I've been playing this for a while. Now, for about a month now, off and on. State of Decay 2. Of course, I played the first one as well when it came out. And it has kind of unusual controls. The controls of the game are real similar to the Grand Theft Auto series. They're weird. They're kind of odd a little bit. So you gotta get used to it. So I played a couple of weeks in game time on like a normal level game. I never really tinkered with the harder difficulty levels. And I'm like, all right, well, let me start a dread level, which is one level up difficulty. And it's significantly more challenging. It's doable, but significantly more challenging. And I didn't want to use any crutches. I didn't want to bring any new. I created 3 new characters, and I don't shop around for characters. If I get, I get a random creation, and if I get guys that that like to eat more food than their normal availability, than their normal amount, well, that's what I'm stuck with. I just get the first 3 people. You'll watch people on the bulletin boards, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I got to shop for all the. I got to have one guy that's like a mechanic, and one guy that's something else." And I'm like, "Okay, I just deal with whoever it is." They do have the control feel of the older GTA, like San Andreas and Vice City, slightly clunky. I never played San Andreas at all. I played Vice City a little bit, but very little. I didn't start playing it any amount until the New York one, whatever it's called. New Jack City, I was going to call it. Whatever it's called. The one where you play the Russian dude. I have those 3, plus the other 3 I haven't played that in years. And then the 5. 6 is going back to Miami, but the cool thing about Vice City is in the 80s. So the new Miami will just be like nowadays. So, I don't know. I'm a fan of those open world things. But I like State of Decay is one of the best games I've ever played. It's not scary. It's not too stressful. You don't feel like you're being chased by wild dogs all the time. Like, you're constantly like going here and go. A lot of these games, and the gamers will be like, "Oh, the game needs to be harder." And I'm thinking, this game's already pretty hard. You need to go get a fucking job and not live in your mom's basement where you don't have anything to do. So a lot of these guys want to play these things that are super, 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 super difficult. And, I want to be challenged, but I don't want it to be, beyond frustrating. I already have a job that's frustrating, so. But anyways, I am a big fan of the series. So I started a Dread group. I get whatever you want. And the funny thing is, I've noticed is the game seems to be extremely. There was a big controversy about a year ago about some T-shirt that we're going to release about some Black Pride T-shirt or whatever. There was a big to do about it or whatever. But I noticed it's kind of interesting. Like, there's not a lot of racial diversity in the game. Which is fine. The game is whatever it is, But just I just picked up a guy that was a Middle Eastern dude, and I think the current drug group, I've got 5 members. It's a slower grind, definitely, but it's cool because I finally had to use crossbows, because I just basically never used crossbows. So I could always find enough ammo to get by, but I had to use crossbows. I had to use 22s, stuff like that. But the Plague Hearts are significantly more difficult to deal with because you just have a lack of ammo. So you had to trade around till I got to an AK and put a brake on it or whatever, so you can go in there and blast it at one time, go through the whole magazine, take out the Plague Heart. Because I've tried using thrown things and stuff like that in a Plague Heart. It's just too friggin' difficult. But you got to take them out before they wake up, or you got all kinds of problems on your hand and infestations. And I went in and I got the survivor, this girl, this black girl that I picked up. Kimberly, I think is what her name was. And I'm bringing her back to base. And I've got everybody, I had the 3 original members, and they're already maxed out. They're already hero status. So I'm like, all right, let's take Kimberly out, get her some experience whacking on things, right? And she was blasting this Plague Heart. and somehow in the middle of the play card, it does like this burp. It does like this burp, and her numbers of her health numbers were so low that the burp killed her. So now she had like a good weapon with her, and I didn't have that many good weapons. I mean, I had, at the time I might have had only 2 rifles for like the four characters. So I got to go salvage her weapon. And it's saying on the map that there's always been bugs in that game. They're not huge, but sometimes they're weird, and I couldn't find her body. Her body wasn't there. Like it said, the casket was there, and there was nothing to be found in the house. So I had to save that game and reloaded and came back, and then it showed her body somewhere different. And anyways, it had a body that never could be found. She was in the spiritual realm and took her AK with her. I forgot if it was an M16 or an AK or whatever the hell it was. So on mine, you had 2 Hispanics at the start, picked up 3 black people, and an Asian girl and 2 white guys. Yeah. I just wish they had different facial features, because I wish there was more attractive females. All the females have really unattractive faces, regardless of what race they are. I got a Mexican dude, and he has an extremely bad accent. But cars, man, when you move up the dread, they take a lot more damage running over a body. And sometimes you don't want to run over people. You're just traveling from point A to point B, and you clip a couple of guys. The next thing you know, your car is smoldering and then turns into a Molotov cocktail. You got to bail out of that thing. It is a great freaking game. It is a great game. Great game. I've had a lot of fun playing the game, and I am not a huge zombie fan, but I do like I wonder what's over there. Let me search that kind of place. That's what I like. I like doing stuff like that in those type of games, whether it's a Grand Theft Auto type game or State of Decay or what's the other, Assassin's Creed, because the same thing. It's like, I wonder what's over there, and it may be something that'll kick your ass, but at least it allows you to travel to go up there, and do that sort of thing. There's just enough base management that you're overwhelmed. I really, really enjoy it. But the ferals, man, I hate ferals. God, I hate ferals. That's the only thing that I would say is scary about the game, is those guys that you could hear them and you don't know where the hell it is. Look at all over the place. It helps a big time bringing somebody with you. But we'll see. I'm like 8 days into Dread, and I'm doing okay. I don't think the community's going to be extinguished. Juggernauts aren't that big a deal. They move slow. You can see them a mile away. Lead them back to your base, and everybody else is in the base can help you kill them. Not that big of a deal. I got to find a computer programmer to upgrade my HQ. And usually so I don't really shop around for the characters. I start with whoever I get. And then as I find hats or different shirts, I'll put them on the guy that found them just to kind of make them look different. So I got real excited. I bought an FAL with one of the things, and other than the 20-round magazine, they kicked so much fucking ass. It was awesome. But I don't use grenade launchers and crossbows. The problem with the crossbow is if you encounter a feral, that's not going to do you any good. So you can't use it right off the bat. Because you'll freaking die. You can't but you play it better and you get better on your reaction times about dodging shit and that kind of stuff. So it's a great game. It is a great game. But okay, so we're done with these guys here. So if I still want to do something, let's see what we got U.S. vehicle wise. Let's expend all our U.S. because I can pretty much get to the end of the U.S. stuff relatively easy. I don't have that much stuff. I got Soviet stuff coming out of my. I got Soviet stuff coming out of my ass. Nothing in here. So one thing I hate about Plastic Soldier Company is this. I got all this extra stuff, and there's hulls, and I'm like, I'm not going to throw these things away. This is good stuff. I mean, I wish the kits cost more and you got to use all the pieces. I'd feel better about it, you know? I don't know. I hate being wasteful. It's stupid to be wasteful. My Japanese tank, little Hago. What do we got here? Here's the U.S. half tracks. These are also Corgi, and I don't know if they're 1/72nd, but they're pretty close. 1, 2, 3, M3A1 half tracks. What else we got in here? You gotta be careful, these things are stacked. Here's the, I think this is a Fujimi. This thing is like almost falling apart. This is an M4A3 105 Sherman. Although the barrel doesn't look very 105-y, other than the length of it. Here's a mine roller that came with the pre-painted M4A1 from, I forget what the name of it is, but it came like this. It even has a little, I left a little holes for it to attach because I could see putting this on a stand and then using this whether or not it's on there. So maybe I should paint that up. That's a good thing to accomplish. Get all the American stuff done. I don't have very many of it left. Okay, that's all. That may be all the American stuff that I have. Nope. I didn't know I had this. This was I think this is the Hasegawa kit. I picked this off the estate sale and repainted it. I forgot I had that. You need to pick up a couple of those Studebaker trucks, one of the packs of the Studebaker trucks from Pegasus. That's the GMC, I believe, that one. GMC cat looking cab thing. And nope. Alright. See, are there any other vehicles on this side? This is mostly my trays of 15mm figures that I've not put in my display case and I haven't mounted the display case. That's it. That's everything. Alright, that's the Americana stuff I have left. And I do have a Dodge 3/4 ton truck model that has the wrongest. I was building that about a year ago and good old Ashley had the wrong suspension, but I think I'm going to be able to save that, salvage that some way or another, but we're not going to fool with that right now. But this, we're going to base paint this Sherman and these half tracks. This. And I guess we should finish this up. Why did I not finish this one? What's the story on it? Make some tank factory type terrain with parts. Yeah, except they're stewards. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do with them. I'm not going to throw them away though. Okay, I think this thing's ready for weathering. I think that's where I stopped here. No, this isn't a Hasegawa. It's got rods in here and they turn. Hasegawa wouldn't have done that, I don't think. I don't know who the hell it is, but I'm not going to paint any more shit on it. We're good to go. Let's dry brush this bitch. I really wished it had done more with Danforth. I forget which one it is. I forget which one of the expansions it was for the first State of Decay, but the one that was like you were in the big city was awesome. I thought that one was great. I thought that one was really, really good. I never cared for the one where you're fighting wave after waves or whatever. I didn't care, but the Danforth City one was great. I think that was the name of the city. Supposed to take place in Washington State somewhere. Danforth, Washington. All right, I put all these things away. Let's pull them back out. Hey, that's where you remember where they're at. Well, there's one of them that I need. And the other one, I believe, is this one. Nope. I never put it away. Okay. And where's the little... this thing? I understand the one that makes the honeys, the honey hull is actually has the machine guns on there. That's not supposed to have, so we'll have to modify those. Ah, nice. A snotling sound. Snotlings. What's this thing twisted on me? Here. I don't know why I didn't finish this. Yep, time to finish it. Yeah, it's got no steering wheel on it. I got it already pre-built and damaged, so we're just making the best that we can out of this thing. Making the best out of a bad situation. cut a little base out for this thing. This is a pretty large truck. I don't know that I've ever seen this truck in anybody's use other than the U.S. The Studebakers, you see those all the time and for the Soviets, with or without Katyusha launchers. It's actually, in my opinion, a better looking truck than this one. This isn't that good looking of a truck. Well, most trucks are actually pretty unattractive. Most World War II trucks. The Studebaker is a pretty attractive vehicle, in my opinion. Not sure why, it just appeals to me. Forgot I even had this thing. Free truck. I think this is one of these vehicles that the decals that I used are those petting house that are all, instead of it being like this circle, it's all one big sheet. So I had to cut it, and I probably got discouraged by that at some point, and I sidetracked into something else. But we'll finish this guy up. I'm just going to go ahead and paint it, not overthink it, not worry about putting other markings on it. Said if I change my mind later, I can just put those markings on it and then just put the individual brush on seal on the one part that I did, and it's good to go. Well, let's get this guy finished. This poor thing's been sitting in the finish me pile for a while. And this was one of the ones that was pre-built, slightly damaged from an estate sale. I'm not sure if it was painted. Maybe just been built, just like that Sherman. That Sherman's the same boat. It was from an estate sale. This guy had all kinds of unfinished kits, or half-finished kits. They make all kinds of cargo loads for these vehicles. I mean, they're expensive. They're nice, but they're expensive. You know, loads cost more than the actual vehicle. Okay, now let's do the lighter color on here. Chair's getting creakier and creakier. I need to write that down. I need to get U.S. Field Drab and Iraqi Sand. I have an app that I don't use that much, but I think it's pretty useful, called Paint Rack, and it keeps track of all the colors you have. But it's only handy really if you're making sure that you don't rebuy something you already had. So You could sort it by manufacturer and everything. And I got all my paints in there. But this Iraqi sand and the US field drab are damn near dead. Open this thing, but and I may have to do that. That should be enough. I don't think I'm going to be going to Historicon this year. Which really the biggest reason for me to go would be to do videos of vendors and stuff like that. Get people all riled up. Do that video of that one vendor that has all the controversial shirts and people get all bent out of shape. And one guy did a video where he couldn't sleep he was overreacting to the guy with the freaking controversial shirts. Yeah, I don't think I want to play games with that dude. Which, it's fine if you have a problem with shirts that are controversial, but the problem is that they were on the other end of if it was a Marxist glory hole, he wouldn't have had a problem with it. I wouldn't wear any of their shirts. I'm just saying, be balanced. Marxist glory hole. Yeah. Everything goes except what you might see in a Norman Rockwell painting, in which case that really offends you. That's the problem. It isn't that, accepting everything. I'm fine with, everything being accepted. The problem is, stuff of the past is somehow now offensive. Go back to your Marxist glory hole. Now, let's put my glasses on so I can see what the hell I've actually done. Yeah, it looks all right for something that just kind of thrown together. You won't really know until you actually seal it. There's some magic that happens with a sealer. Now, we got to make sure that we have a base for this dude. I think it's unnecessary to have this on this at this point. Let's see what kind of a stand this will fit on. Will this fit on a Russian truck stand? Absolutely not. Okay, so it's got to be bigger than that. Width we're okay with. I bet we could find a remnant that will work. I don't know about that. It's a long ass truck. And I think this is a hard stop on this length. There's nothing I can do about that length. The length is what it is. So I think we're going to have to actually cut a custom piece for this. Will one of these work? Yeah, it could. Is it too thin? I think so. I wouldn't be happy with that. However, this thing's sitting over here waiting in the wings. That's too wide. I don't want to waste that much. Let's see what else we got down here. There's no other trucks of this size, so. Was this that piece? Yeah, I like this piece, so I'm going to make something of that size. All right, you happy with this? Yep, but just enough meat around it. This is really at the extreme of being able to fit underneath here. Sometimes it's a little bit of a challenge to fit in these jaws. It's pretty good. Let's go back to Magnetlandia. Make sure this is the magnet one. Yep. Need to be very wide. Let's see if I've got one already pre-cut. We're going to need our glasses for that. Nope. Yep, that's a magnet. That's a magnet, all right. It's a little shy, but it'll work. Gotta use all these pieces parts. This thing is very light, very, very light, so it shouldn't need a whole lot of resistance to keep it in place, keep it from misbehaving. And let's scuff up the top of it and put some goop on it, and then it can dry too. And then we will secure these wheels, keep them from spinning. Okay. Put that back. There's still some life left in this. That's garbage. You empty the garbage can. It's like none of it's food or anything. It's just everywhere. All right, where is the tool? There it is. Oh, I didn't realize this was in the picture. God, this chair is gonna be, look. Everything's made like shit these days. Why do you get rid of the napkin, paper towel? Oh boy. The bitching chair. All right. There, and there. don't want to use super glue. But I guess I'll try it because it's the quickest solution. Assuming I can find some. Here it is. Has this one never been used? What's going on here? If it's empty, why isn't it cranked down all the way? Ain't nobody got time for this. See ya, you're fired. Don't need a huge grip. Don't need a huge grip on it. Okay, now what do we do? Well, I think now I'm kind of at an impasse. We're gonna seal these guys, and yeah, this is a pizza. This is a pizza crap right here. The person that put this together had all used old school mono glue, and it's got drippings and stuff, and I think it'll end up looking okay when I'm done with it, but this is not this is not great. And it's a 105, but man, it hardly looks any bigger than a 75. But we'll do something with it. Probably paint it up. It'll look fine when it's painted. You know, they're wargaming models, folks. So, okay. Thanks for stopping by, folks, as always. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Enjoy what's left of your Sunday. And